Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for our next session of the day. Before we go on with our next session, I would like to introduce the gentleman, and before I do that, I want to ask you guys, who watches reality shows? Do we all watch reality shows here? Please raise your hands. I'd like to know who watches reality shows. We all love reality shows, right? The man who's going to join us on stage now has changed, or rather enhanced, or rather brought reality shows to a whole new dimension. I'm sure the word that I'm about to go ahead and say is going to go ahead and make you realize whom I'm talking about. I'm sure everybody has watched Roadies at one point in their lives. Have you? All right, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the man who has changed the perception of reality shows in Indian television industry, Mr. Raghu Ram, who is the of Monopsychotic, who's going to talk about his new show. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Over to you. I'm going to go ahead and give you the mic. Would you like to handle the mic? Yes. Over to you. Do you like a mic as well, sir? Can I have another mic, please?
Check.
There you go, sir.
Yeah, I'm Raghu. That's Ali.
Hi.
He's my colleague. We have a startup of our own called Monozygotic. Monozygotic, for those who don't know, is the biology term for identical twins. Rajiv and I are monozygotic twins. We're here to just share some insights into the Indian millennial. Not because we're experts, but because we've had an opportunity to work with them very closely over a decade and a half. Shall we, Ali?
I'm just waiting for the clicker to work.
Yeah. I'll just say that I was really enjoying the virtual reality chat, and I think it ended by them summing it up by saying, you know, for this to work, the price has to come down, the quality has to go up. It's really refreshing to hear that outside MTV, I must say, because in all our channels, that's it. Price down, quality up. Price down, quality up. That's what it's all about. I cracked this joke for the benefit of one person. Where is she? There she is. So, are we ready to go?
Yeah, good to go. So, we did a very interesting study across 50 cities in India, and we studied what we call is the next consumer, or as I heard in the morning session, the new customer, as you call it. They call it the Indian millennial. What we're going to do today between me and Raghu is take you through some of our learnings. Some of them are quantitative, some of them are qualitative, but there's some interesting kind of insights that we were able to pull out of this study. So we're going to dive right into it with Raghu.
Right, so the Indian millennial is not like other Indians and not like other millennials. It's actually pretty natural that understanding them is a challenge, because the way they're brought up, the things that they've been told at school, at home, are pretty much the same things that we've been told at home, at school, but their world involves so much more. The level at which they're interacting with each other, the kind of cultural influences that they have are so disparate and so many that's bound to have an effect which is unique to them. Yeah. Time for some shameless self-promotion. This is, we've been fortunate enough, like I was saying, to have worked with them for 15 odd years, and very closely, online, on air, and of course on ground. And we've been fortunate enough to be working with MTV, which does one of the Asia's biggest studies on the youth behavior, and they were kind enough to share a few insights with us. We'd like to share that with you, yeah? Decoding the Indian millennial. Ali.
So yeah, just quickly, we're going to deep dive into each one in terms of what it means and says, but taking you through some of the keywords that kind of popped out. As you see on the right-hand side of the slide, right, there is some interesting kind of words that are relevant to the millennial today. I'm just going to talk about a few of them here, and then we're going to go into the slides. But essentially, they're confident. That's a new thing as compared to the millennial yesterday or about a decade ago. They're happy. They're creative. And these are the reasons why I think one of the slides was no one understands me. Without further ado, because time is of essence, and I've been told I have 15 minutes to wrap up, I'm going to move on.
But just to go back, to set up why this generation is different, if you'll see that the words that are conspicuous by their absence are rebellious, angry, etc., which kind of defined so many of the previous generations. This is how this generation defines themselves.
This one was the first kind of very interesting standout line for us. Was, it kind of relates to the world of technology and connectivity in general, but the Indian millennial believes that they're a beta version of themselves. So the one thing that I was able to pull out of this is it's almost like it's self-evolving. They're always
So
looking
work
to
in
improve.
progress. Work in progress, and they're proud of that, and they should be. It's a great way to see yourself, I think, very empowering. Instead of saying I'm a screw up, which I was told. So this is a bit of a stress. One thing doesn't change, which is that there's a lot of pressure on the youth to succeed. There is so much, so while in our life it was to be a good student, just score well in exams and you're good, over here it's not just that. It's not multitasking, it's multi-achieving. You have to succeed and achieve in so many other things. If you see, the highest number is from the age 19 to the age 25. Before that, the pressure is relatively low. But as they enter their, early 20s, the pressure really kind of goes up.
Kind of brave is the new bold. If you see, very interesting factoid in the absolute left corner bottom over there, is 60% say that I will voice my opinion even if someone close to me dislikes it, right? So
No, and also if he is politically incorrect.
If he's politically incorrect. I think the interesting thing here is that a decade ago, the difference between the youth then and now was that they were seeking to get the opinion of their peer group, but now it's very clear that a majority of them, greater than 50%, are okay with getting a disapproval from their group, providing they have a strong belief in it.
Also, what they consume, information or content or entertainment, is no longer a one-way street. They have to comment on it, they have to share it, they have to participate in it, which is a unique difference from previous generations. They have a voice now and they enjoy it. Bite-sized information. They're all looking for inspiration, obviously. That's not a new thing. But what's new is where they're looking for inspiration. Their role models are not Bollywood stars or cricketers so much, because cricketers, yeah, but not Bollywood stars. They're looking at people who they can relate to. People who have made something out of themselves from nothing and which they can aspire to be. And that's a huge, majority of the youth.
Yeah, I think the entrepreneurs today, the successful entrepreneurs, become great role models for the youth to follow, because I think it's stories and backstories about them of emerging from nowhere and creating something successful out of themselves, going through the grit and the hard work, is an important kind of dollop of inspiration that the youth kind of feed on
and they seek it almost every day.
Every day. Again, a very colorful kind of pie chart. We refer to happy as one of the keywords. Again, just a quick kind of snapshot that greater than 60% of the people that was researched essentially contribute happiness to lifestyle, passion, opportunity, and professional achievement. And I think that's a very big kind of cue to what the youth are, or the millennial are of today.
One thing that I really note in this is that about 38% define happiness as academic achievement and professional achievements, which is understandable for somebody from my generation. But look at lifestyles, passions, opportunities, and non-academic achievements are up to 35%. That's a huge number. I think this is the first time in, the history of India, this thing that success and happiness is derived not just from school and office.
This is, again, I'm a beta version of myself is one of the things that stood out for me. And the other one that stood out was very clearly that 61% say that they're not trying to hide their flaws. It's almost like they carry it as a badge. They carry it as a learning of themselves. And I think scars are the new tattoos is an interesting kind of factoid of the generation.
The word that is used to describe them is flawsome. They're flawed and awesome in their flaws. If you want to have a better example of that, look at the superhero films that are the hits now. From the Superman and Batman of 70s, 80s, 90s, there's a Deadpool of today. Really flawed and a lot of fun.
again, a lot of the study kind of boils down to chasing my calling, being, you saw the happiness component, being happier with their passions and professions. So they're kind of chasing their calling. The calling might not be a traditional calling.
Yeah, what stands out here is that finding your unique talent is the quickest way to success, which is a marked shift from earlier in the 70s, 80s, obviously, where the quickest route to success was education. Then it shifted to talent. Now it is coming down to a personality. If you look at the whole beta version of yourself, the focus has gone a lot from academics, pure academics, to personality. And that will express itself again, as we will see in further slides, into the entrepreneurial spirit.
Right. One of the things that was discussed earlier this morning also was that I think experiences for people are becoming important, right? So calling relating to experiences is something that is becoming an important thing for them.
Okay, these are a lot of numbers out here. But the two things that kind of you can interpret from this is, one, between 2014 and 16, the biggest rise is, one, in planning my career, and a decrease is making my parents proud. It doesn't mean they care less for parents. It only means that now they are not so, the only option is not to do the profession that their parents have chosen for them. Yeah, you understand? They plan their career, but not based on what their parents want. The second thing is, can we go back 1 second? You'll see a lot of increase in things like relaxing more, following your own passion, experience new and unknown, and a decrease in having a lot of friends and fun. There is, like I was saying, a marked emphasis on self, on personality, to kind of be a beta version of yourself. The fun thing, at least for this, I think first time in the history of generations in India, is that they have supporting parents. And I think that deserves a huge round of applause. In our this thing, it's like, look at 62% feel that my parents will be supportive of my career choice as long as I worked hard. We had to work hard, that was not an option, but in a career that our parents chose.
Right, and I think the important thing is kind of all of it summing up together is that if there is an external support system that works well for the ecosystem, then this further kinds of give them impetus to their ideas. So I think that's a good one.
This is accompanied by a resurgence of pride in India, which will express itself in a lot of confidence that the youth feel. They show off their culture, they're proud of their culture, showing off their culture to the world. Obviously some deluded stuff like 75% believing that our movies are as good as Hollywood, but hey, in the interest of taking pride in our culture, that's cool too. This whole thing, being a beta version of yourself, flawsome, showing off your struggles and your scars, pride in India, self, not parents' choice, this everything, the organic, result of that is a surge in startups. Startups, the way you guys are defining it, is just a result of a newfound focus and confidence that these kids feel in themselves.
Yeah, I think this is also kind of something in the West that was picked up, right? It was the millennial there kind of chose to opt down their own route, and India is kind of picking up the surge and taking it way beyond. Another interesting, 81% youngsters believe that doing things they're passionate about is about being a better way of achieving success rather than doing something that does not interest them. So it's not just something that's become an industry trend, but it's actually a youth trend that's also kicking off various business cultures, yeah.
Well, we at Monozygotic have jumped onto the bandwagon. We have been tracking this trend for a few years now, and in partnership with, proud to announce, MTV once again, we're going to be reflecting this trend and hopefully leading it sometime in the near future with a show, a reality show, which, of course, so far you've known us through Roadies. Hopefully this will be our new identity. It's India's first startup reality show, and it's going to feature a lot of kids who kind of these bunch of slides represent. People who may not be qualified, people who may not come from a background which encourages starting up, but who are confident in doing that, who believe in themselves nonetheless, and who we try to kind of support.
So yeah, one of the things here is that Monozygotic itself is a startup, right? We started this company a little over 2 years ago. So I think one of the reasons and the ethos behind doing this show was to kind of allow the extended youth and the world to kind of see that startups not necessarily only gloss and sexy, it's also got to do with a lot of hard work. So there's a lot of deep insights that you will get on the real life of an entrepreneur through the existence of the show.
MTV and Monozygotic obviously is collaborating with TIE on this project, and we are open to a lot of the collaborations also. We're looking for pools of budding entrepreneurs, pools of people who are looking to invest in budding entrepreneurs and ideas. And any one of you who are interested in doing that, please reach out to us through TIE. Yeah, that's about it. Any questions?
Thank you.
Do we have time for questions or no? One or two questions? Any? Oh, okay. No, it's not going to be like Shark Tank. This show has two aspects to it. The first phase is auditions. Shark Tank is a negotiation between an investor and an existing business, which is a product, right? This is the creation of the first startup on air. Actually, it's not a negotiation. It is the transformation of people who are not qualified and not experienced, but have the potential into a funded startup. That's what this show is. Yes, sir. What's behind this change in the millennials? There are many factors, obviously. I think the internet is a major part of it. Earlier, Indians, I feel, have always been afraid. We operate from a place of fear. My parents obviously did. That's why we save more, we travel less. This generation, for the first time, is not afraid. This is the generation that doesn't worry about where their next salary check is coming from. They are more involved in and interested in experiencing. I think exposure to various cultures and various ways of life, and role models like entrepreneurs who have broken your traditional. Now I don't have to be an engineer only. That's not the only way. I can be a startup. I can be a unicorn. So these are the factors that kind of really influence the youth today.
So just to kind of add to your answer, I think like if you look at two sectors, again, something that we discussed this morning, the real estate sector and the auto sector, right? We've actually heard millennials say that they don't want to buy cars, they don't want to own houses, right? So it's almost like redefining that part, whilst we were always kind of back a decade ago, it was like buying a house became the mecca of success, I guess, at some level, or owning a car became a success of some pedigree. But that's not how you're defined anymore, because it's cool not to own a house, actually. It's cool not to buy a car. So they're actually kind of rethinking whether that's a measure of success at all.
Thank you. I think we're out of time. And thank you for hearing us out. And I hope you learned something as well. Thanks.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a huge round of applause once again for Raghuram and Ali to join us on stage for this wonderful presentation. We are all excited about the new show that will be coming up. Before we let you go, of course, we have to present you with a token of appreciation. Thank you very much for joining us here. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very, very much. Let's have a quick photo opportunity, gentlemen. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I also have to quickly take a selfie, which will be tweeted onto the Twitter handle. Okay, well, he's gone if we can. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks so very much.